Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So we've got a few little pieces of news here. A lot of this I did touch on during the live stream that I did on Saturday, but I wanted to cover it in more of a normal, usual kind of a news format as well. So first up is actually something I don't think I talked about, even though I think the news was out at that time, and that is this news of Nickelodeon AllStar Brawl is a Smash Bros. Alike featuring SpongeBob, TMNT, and more. So we are going to be getting a Nickelodeon kind of fighting game that's going to play like Smash Bros. In the sense that it looks like the idea of to win, you knock your opponents off the stage rather than it being all about health bars. So I've noticed a little bit of buzz about this because there's not a lot of games that I think do things in the Smash Bros. Style, and Nickelodeon has a pretty nice character lineup. So the thing obviously here, why are we covering it here? Avatar. While they technically didn't announce anything Avatar in this initial announcement of the game, if you look at the trailer, there's visually at least one Avatar thing you can see. So if you pause the trailer at 35 seconds, you can see here they are clearly at the Western Air Temple. So one of the stages is the Western Air Temple. You can see it there. The upside down temple is Western Air Temple architecture, 100%. Also, just behind Patrick there from SpongeBob, you can see a airbender glider. So it's clearly Avatar. Also, you can see on the ground there the airbender symbol. So 100% this is Avatar. Really, really nice to see. And it basically confirms, yes, there is going to be Avatar stuff in the game. So far, these are the confirmed characters. So you can see you have TMNT, we have some Wild Thornberries, Red and Stimpy, SpongeBob characters, Real Monsters, The Loud House, don't know what that is, Hey Arnold, Rugrats, Invader Zim, and Danny Phantom. And again, I assume there'll be more characters from a lot of these as well, like Helga from Hey Arnold. I assume Arnold from Hey Arnold will be in the game, I'd guess. Similarly, I can't see why they don't need to do two of the turtles, so I guess we'll see the other two turtles, and so on. Similarly, is that the only Wild Thornberries character we're going to see? Doubt it, but there's going to be much more than that. And as you can see here, like, let's just go through actually some of the screenshots. So as you can see, it's like a character-based fighting game on these relatively simple stages with the aim of knocking your opponent off the stages. And you can see there's Patrick, there's Leonardo, and Helga, and you can see the idea is to try and push them off the stage. So it seems like kind of interesting, and there's what you're looking for there. Your attacks do sort of big, I suppose, kinetic damage and send people flying. There's another actual look at the air temple there as well, seeing it in the background and so on. Looks quite nice. They also did show off sort of a teaser box art, as you can see here. So the immediate thing here is you can see, okay, more characters are technically revealed in this, in that if you look here, this is clearly Korra. You can tell from the hairstyle, the muscles and stuff like that, it's 100% Korra. And then the hand just below her, that's Aang's hand. Look at that. You can see the kind of cuffs here. It's Book 1 Aang. He typically does poses like this, even though you can't fully exactly make it out. So for sure, Aang and Korra are in here, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some other Avatar characters. I guess I'd be shocked if there wasn't at least Zuko, but I guess people would also be wanting, probably, if they do Zuko, then do Katara, then do Toph. So I think they'll have to do at least a selection of Avatar characters here. And as for, I suppose, why they didn't do anything Avatar here, again, this was the announcement of the game. My guess is, as we approach the, I think it's fall release of the game, where did they say that? Yeah, coming to PS5 for Xbox Series X, S, and Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch in fall 2021. So that means that this game is coming out within the next like 4 months, I suppose, if not the next 3, because obviously if we're getting into December, we're talking about winter, so I guess it has to be October, November release. meaning they'll have to announce all of the main characters ahead of time. So I guess in the coming months we'll get the other character announcements, and I'd be shocked if they didn't make Avatar one of those major announcements. Just imagine the big hype surrounding, like, we're announcing Aang and Korra, obviously, but here are the other characters that we're also doing, and also, like, here are the stages, and I guess we'll see probably a Republic City one. We'll have to do something from Korra, and then I suppose they're doing an Air Temple stage, then Fire Nation stage, like maybe in the capital, in the palace or something like that. Water Tribe I think would be a cool option, just depends on where exactly they do it. Walls of Ba Sing Se would actually be a decent place to do it, but you know, how do they show that? There's a few options though. Spirit World, that's another way you can do something kind of very different and odd. You've got lots of options with Avatar because it's such a vast world. You can do whatever you want basically. So, you know, it's a video game thing that's going to feature Avatar. They had the kart racer that I think is out at this point. Obviously that was very much just characters included in something, but here, because it's a fighting game, you're actually going to get to fight as at least a few Avatar characters, and that's kind of fun. Korra getting her revenge against SpongeBob for the laughing meme thing that's out there, of course. Stuff like that is kind of cool to see. Next, Free Comic Book Day. They posted this on Twitter that we've been talking with our friends at Dark Horse Comics, and there might be an Avatar The Last Airbender cover reveal coming soon. They're clearly referencing the cover for the Free Comic Book Day book, which has not been revealed yet. It's still just that blank cover. There's no details yet on this. And Free Comic Book Day is August 14th, so we're under 4 weeks away from this event. So they need to get on this, and the hope will be that they posted this on July 12th, so that I'm guessing at this stage, you know, how soon has to mean soon. I'd be shocked if it doesn't get revealed either today or tomorrow or something like that at some stage this week. So just keep an eye out on the Free Comic Book Day Twitter for whenever this gets announced, because I assume it is coming this week. I really want to see what it is, because again, this book has an Avatar and a Korra story in it, so it could be exciting, but we're still waiting to see what exactly it is. So yeah, that's been one of the worst handled, I think, pieces of kind of content that we've had, just the lack of information on it. But anyway, next up, the Kickstarter page is, they've sort of put it live in the sense that it is now an upcoming project on the Magpie Games page. So they're saying that you can like sign up to be notified when the page goes live, which we know is happening August 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern. So that's when it's going to go live, and they'll have all the details up. This is actually going to be quite an exciting announcement here, because, you know, we're expecting, you know, some decent information on the exact details of this game, and especially because it's done through Kickstarter, you know, we're looking to see how well this is going to do. On the stream that I did on Saturday, I went over some of their previous games. I'll just actually quickly bring it up here. So if you look at the ones that they have running at this point, I think this is the one that's been more popular. This is the one that I suppose is most recent edition of, you know, this game system, powered by the Apocalypse. This is what the Avatar game is going to be like. You're going to be fundamentally getting a book, but it's going to be the Avatar core book. So they got 6,495 backers for a total of $602,022. And again, I think they ran this for a month, like the Avatar RPG game Kickstarter is going to run for. Now, you can get a look at sort of how the Kickstarter is going to look from the way that they do it here. They're going to offer you the PDF for like the core book as well as the extra books. So for Avatar, we know we're getting a main book, a Republic City book, and a Spirit World book. So I guess it'll be like 20 or 30 for all of the PDFs. Then you can pay, you know, a little bit more to get the actual physical copy of the main book. As well as that, you get the PDF of all the other ones as well. You can pay $75 to get the physical copy of like all of the books as well as the PDFs. So that seems to be a cool thing. Either way, you get the PDFs, so even if they encounter problems with printing the physical book, you're always going to get access to the digital PDF as soon as possible. So that is good. They're also for a higher price. You get both books, the PDFs, and this thing called the Vagabond Satchel. I assume they'll do something similar here for Avatar. I think they cover what the satchel is on their page. It's basically a bunch of physical accessories to help you play the game. So digital book, the core book, the expansion book. There's going to be deluxe versions of these books. So I'm wondering, will Avatar get that? I hope it does. And then here's the Vagabond Satchel. It's like a equipment deck. So I assume this will be like Technique deck or something like that for the Avatar stuff. And Denizen deck. So yeah, I assume that there'll be stuff like this, of like cards that will just help you, you know, has a physical, visual thing to get across aspects of the game. You know, custom Avatar dice, that'd be really, really cool for the different nations, elements and stuff like that. Maps, Avatar maps would be absolutely fantastic if they did that. A GM screen, so there's that. Notepads, booklets, and a cloth bag to keep everything in. I hope they do something like that, because I can definitely see the appeal for just extra Avatar kind of special merchandise done through the Kickstarter. Seems really cool. Deluxe books, like I said, you know, it would be really cool if they do that. If they're going to be doing 3 books for Avatar, if there is a you know, a book kind of case to put them in like this, and they have special like shiny covers or whatever, that seems really cool. So, you know, it might seem like this is just a pre-order for a book, but no, it's going to be a little bit more than that, because they're going to have all these different options for, like, do you want just the main book? Do you want both books? Do you just want the PDF? Or do you want to go all in and get the special edition stuff? And then the big thing, like I said earlier, where am I going? All the way up to the top. Yeah, how will Avatar do in relation to this? 6,500 backers, $600,000. Avatar's obviously, I think, going to beat this, because there's already a lot of hype behind this game, and I think they've done a good job sort of in the initial like marketing push. So I can see this being absolutely beaten. There's going to be way more than 6,000 backers. How many is going to be interesting. I think I could definitely see it getting over 1 million for sure. But the question is just, how much hype is there behind Avatar? Because I was surprised with just sort of how much like hype there has been surrounding this, how much that the news of this Avatar RPG game has spread. And this will, I think, be one of the first major tests of just how big Avatar truly is at this point, in comparison to just, you know, a well-known company known for making RPG games, a liked system, but for Root in this case, does reasonably well here, 600,000, successful. Avatar, though, there'd be an expectation that like you probably want to at least probably double this, maybe. But following those numbers is going to be quite interesting. But again, we have to wait on this, of course, because it's not available yet. But August 3rd is when it's going to go live. So keep an eye out for that. I will do a video going through the Kickstarter when it comes out, because I'm just interested to see how they go about marketing it and so on. Next, continuing on the same trend, actually, Avatar Legends. So there's a big little thing here about Magpie Games on Twitter said that they got the Avatar Legends sort of name and logo from Nickelodeon, and that they were happy to see what was coming next under the Avatar Legends umbrella, basically. This led, I think, a lot of the fandom to look into this and realize that, oh, back in May, they actually applied for the trademark for a few things. Braving the Elements, which is the podcast, as well as Avatar Legends. So we've actually, in the background, known about Avatar Legends for a while. I completely missed this. But they have the trademark Avatar Legends for the following categories. Now, this is going to list a lot of different types of products. It doesn't mean that for sure Avatar Legend, there's going to be official Avatar merchandise for all of these things, but it means they're covered if they want to do these things. But at the very least, it probably tells us that they are planning to do something in each of these categories for Avatar Legends. So they've hit one of them already, but we're going to see more. So clothing, footwear, and headgear, including, you know, shirts, t-shirts, all sorts of clothing here, pajamas, bandanas, footwear, Halloween costumes, you know, they're covered if they want to do that. Leather imitations of leather, umbrellas, luggage tags, backpacks, handbags, that's solid. Games, toys, sports equipment, you know, their action figures, that's interesting to know. Play sets, plush toys, toy vehicles, everything that's more sort of toy related, including electronic action toys, paper, cardboard, and goods made from these materials. So this is, I suppose, stationary, but it includes trading cards. And I think this is where role-playing games is also included somewhere in this. So it gives you just that sense for, like, okay, here is a title that they are probably going forward going to put a lot of their, like, extra Avatar merchandise under. They've already done this game, which actually is very broad. It's not specifically Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's not specifically Korra. It's both, and basically touches on a little bit of everything else. That's fascinating to me. And then the last one's kind of interesting. Scientific and electronic apparatus and instruments. So DVDs, video cassettes, computer games, video games, audiobooks, and everything that seems to relate to them. You know, carrying cases for phones, headphones. So it looks like they are going to try and redo what they did back in early Avatar. That was heavily merchandise Avatar, quite heavily. They did that a lot in like 2005, 2006, where there kind of was Avatar everything. They had Avatar stationery, Avatar plasters and stuff like that, as well as, you know, the official toy line that you could find in stores. They had the trading card game. It looks like they're going to try and bring that back, which makes sense given how popular Avatar is once again. I just wonder how widespread Avatar Legends is actually going to be. It doesn't seem like it's necessarily this thing that they're going to use as the new title for the franchise, but as a title for just sort of, this is what we will brand everything that is sort of in general Avatar, that seems like a nice way to do it, rather than always having to do, well, this is more Avatar related, so it's an Avatar: The Last Airbender product. This is more Korra related, so it's a Legend of Korra product. Instead, they're both Avatar Legends products. Now, it does make me question, like, if they had had Avatar Legends a few years ago, would the Kyoshi novels have been Avatar Legends novels rather than ATLA, The Rise of Kyoshi? Interesting to consider. So, the next time we see Avatar Legends will be quite telling, but it also speaks that, you know, they filed it themselves, they're giving it to Magpie Games here. We're probably going to see this on a lot more stuff, because notably, like, the McFarlane toys isn't using Avatar Legends, and not a lot of the other stuff that we've seen is. So it'll be new stuff, I guess, that has this. So I guess look forward to Nickelodeon announcing a lot of Avatar merchandise. I'm wondering how heavy this is going to be and when it's going to hit, but it makes sense to promote the return of Avatar to do this. Have it be included in more video game stuff, like we covered earlier on with the AllStar Brawl game. Now you have an RPG game coming out. Why not go more heavily in yourselves, officially doing clothing and all this extra stuff? Like, yeah, because it was a big deal like a few years ago when Inside Editions put out the, like, Avatar, like, diary journals things that were just paper. But now they're just doing that and everything else. So you can get Avatar pens, papers, pencil cases. You know, that's cool. We don't have to, like, think of every single piece of merchandise and products as, like, being huge. It's just, yeah, Avatar's gonna have merchandise because it's big again. That's interesting. Final piece of news is this Hollywood Reporter article that's actually more about, like, Fairly Odd Parents, but because it's related to Nickelodeon, Animation, Paramount Plus, Avatar gets a mention here. So the interview is with Brian Robbins, who is the sort of, like, what's the head of what's his title again? So yeah, it says here, Nickelodeon President and CEO Brian Robbins. So I think we've heard him talk about this before, but if we get to the Avatar stuff specifically, I reported a story last year about how Backish's strategy was to license to third-party outlets in a bid to expose content to a bigger audience before ultimately taking it back as an exclusive. Is that your strategy as well? That's been my strategy from the start. There's two great examples of that. Avatar: The Last Airbender was a series that ran for 3 seasons on Nickelodeon and was never a huge show, but had an amazing following. we licensed that show to Netflix and it exploded. Then we put the spin-off The Legend of Korra on Paramount Plus and it crushed it. That led us to our new relationship and bringing the creators of Avatar back to Nickelodeon to form Avatar Studios. We're now on our way to a full-fledged franchise strategy, creating films and spin-offs of Avatar. They've also done this for iCarly. And then there's one other mention here. It's just about like, as we all expect, Avatar will be going off Netflix eventually. So yeah, top creators left. Yeah, our deal with Avatar creators proves that it's a very lucrative, long-term pact with a lot of commitments to do a lot of great things together. That's one example of it. And then at some point somewhere in the article they do mention the idea of like Avatar will be leaving Netflix, which was obvious at some point, because we're, you know, the idea is the fandom to watch new Avatar stuff will be switching over to Paramount Plus, which will have the old Avatar stuff. But the Blu-rays are there if you want them as well, if you're worried at all about that. So that's interesting. You know, you can speculate about, you know, it ran for 3 seasons on Nickelodeon and was never a huge show, and it's like, I guess from a big business perspective, you know, it's like, yeah, they didn't follow it up particularly strongly. They had the movie, it didn't work out. They waited a few years, they did Korra. Korra was popular in terms of the fan base, but obviously didn't move the needle in terms of like turning Avatar into a franchise that they directly continued with. Hence why we've had, you know, the last 7-ish years of mainly comics being the thing to continue the franchise, and only in the last few years with the Netflix, you know, hype that has things got on track again. So I suppose it really speaks to just that idea of, we think that the Netflix thing was big, but it was way bigger than that. That it opened up the eyes of the people in the high positions to Avatar is super, super popular. That whatever it's experiencing now is way beyond the popularity that it had back in like 2008. And I think that's kind of hard to put into perspective, because I think for us as hardcore fans, we've always viewed Avatar as being like one of the best shows ever. But there's a difference, I think, between it just being regarded as being one of the best animations ever and its actual popularity in terms of numbers and how much it's always been on people's minds. For us as the fandom, it has. But yeah, I guess there have been years upon years in between these different projects where people haven't talked about Avatar, but this Netflix thing has changed everything, which is why they say it directly led to Avatar Studios. Netflix led to this happening. And again, that was the whole thing going into that Paramount Plus announcement for Avatar Studios. Obviously it featured other stuff as well. The reason we went in there with any expectations at all is because even us as the fandom had to acknowledge the success on Netflix, the fact that more and more people were talking about it, including sort of the high ups, and it was beginning to get mentioned as like, oh, Avatar is one of our most popular like legacy franchises, and it's like, oh, they're talking about it again, and something's going to have to happen. And when Mike and Brian left the Netflix show, it felt like everything's coming together here, why not? And that seems like exactly what happened here. So it's just an extra, you know, insight into the business stuff behind the scenes of it. Not that it particularly tells us anything new about Avatar, but, you know, just a lot of going over what we already knew. And then I suppose final thing would just be that Suki Alone is out next week. It's out next Tuesday, the 27th, so definitely check out that book. I will have my full spoiler review out that day. I have it recorded already, but I'm waiting to release the video until the day of release to avoid spoiling it. It looks like at this point we're not getting the Google Books preview pages. I've been looking for them for a while now and I haven't been able to find them, so unless they're going to release them very, very late in the game, we probably aren't going to get them this time out. So, you know, 8 more days to go. It's a good book. the hype is worth it, I can assure you. I think people are going to be impressed, and I'm just excited to see what people think about it when it actually comes out. So yeah, quite a lot of news to cover today. What are your thoughts on all of this stuff? We're going to have some Avatar characters in the Nickelodeon sort of Smash Bros game. So we're actually going to get to fight as Aang, fight as Korra. Free Comic Book Day cover coming soon, whatever that means. The hype is building for the Avatar Legends game. We also now know more about the Avatar Legends title and what that means in terms of trademarks, and also like just this little insight into Avatar from this article. What are your thoughts on all of this? But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.